What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton has already delivered the first psychological blow of the season, even before the traffic lights go out in Australia? Because what he said after the Bahrain tests is not a simple optimistic statement. It is not the typical "we are working hard" that we hear every pre-season. No, Hamilton has dropped something much bigger. He has talked about a completely different SF26 than the one in the tests, about a real leap for Melbourne, about a car that is calmer under braking than any he has driven in recent years, and that, coming from a 7-time world champion, is not just any phrase. Ferrari arrives at the Australian Grand Prix with a package of improvements designed specifically for Albert Park. It is not a small evolution. It's not a minor adjustment. It is a surgical movement that, according to internal estimates after Bahrain, could involve up to 3 or 4 tenths per lap. And when in Formula One you talk about 4 tenths, you talk about completely changing the order of the grid. But here is the key question. Are we facing the beginning of Hamilton's definitive assault on the title dressed in red? Or before public pressure calculated to force Ferrari to show that this project is really ready to win? Because if what he said is true, if the new diffuser, revised floor and rotary wing system work as promised, Australia might not just be the first race of the year. It could be the moment Hamilton changes the narrative of the entire season. After the Bahrain test, the atmosphere around Ferrari was not euphoric. It was cautious. The SF26 had shown impressive top speed, competitive peaks and a solid base, but it also exposed certain weaknesses in rear tire management and the complexity of its aeroactive system. It was not a perfect car. It was a car with potential. And that's where Hamilton decides to intervene. Because instead of cooling expectations, the British does exactly the opposite. It speaks of a clear leap with respect to the test specification. Talk about a calmer car when braking. It speaks to a stability I haven't felt in years. And when a driver who is coming from a difficult stage in terms of confidence talks about calm and control when entering a corner, that has enormous weight. To understand the magnitude of what this means, you have to go back to Bahrain. Ferrari did not bring its final package. What we saw at Secure was a correlation base, a testbed for validating tunnel and CFD data, with a very disciplined program focused on thermal balance, aerodynamic correlation and mid-run consistency. They weren't showing all their cards. The real blow was reserved for Australia. Since January, as can be seen from the subsequent analysis, Ferrari worked on a specific package for Albert Park. New rear diffuser of greater volume, deep touches to the ground with a concept close to vortex injection, and adjustments to the rotating rear wing system that is the heart of the SF26. It is not a generic update. It is a surgical intervention designed to maximize efficiency on a semi-urban circuit where braking stability and low-speed traction are critical. And here comes the first key point of Act 1. Hamilton is not reacting to a finished car. You are reacting to a concept that is still evolving. In Bahrain, the SF26 has already registered top speeds close to 348 km per hour, being among the 3 best on a straight line. That means the base aerodynamic efficiency is already competitive. But the problem was not in the straight line. It was in how the car managed balance when the rear tires began to suffer on long runs. If the Australian package improves rear stability and maintains that efficiency on the straight, Ferrari not only wins in qualifying, it wins in strategic consistency. Hamilton knows something that the casual spectator does not always perceive. A calm car under braking not only allows for stronger cornering, it also protects the rear tire by reducing microslips in support. And in Albert Park, where the braking zones combined with traction are constant, that detail can make the difference between leading a stint or starting to lose 2 tenths per lap. But there is another level to this story. Ferrari has managed to get the FIA to approve technical solutions that many rivals consider extremely difficult to replicate in the short term, especially the rotary wing concept in certain ground elements. That means that, if it works as expected, we are not facing a circumstantial improvement. We are facing a conceptual advantage. And Hamilton knows it. That is why your message is not prudent. It is affirmative. It's direct. It's almost challenging. He is implicitly saying, we have something different. In this first act, what we are seeing is not yet performance on the track. It is narrative construction. He is a champion who publicly validates the technical project. It is a team that, after years of strategic errors and correlation failures, arrives with a solid foundation and a precisely designed update. The question that remains is this: is Ferrari aware of the level of expectation it has just generated? Because if the promised jump of 3 or 4 tenths per lap thanks to the Australian package materializes, the SF26 will not only be competitive, it will be a real candidate from the first race. First, the diffuser. Increasing volume potentially means more rear loading without excessively penalizing aerodynamic drag. In theory, this allows a more planted car in the middle curve and better traction when exiting the slow corners of the third sector. If the flow under the car is more energized thanks to groundwork, the car should be less sensitive when the rear tire starts to degrade. That's the key. It's not just about more load. It is about progressive stability. Second, the floor with a vortex injection type concept. If Ferrari has really managed to better channel the lateral flow towards the diffuser, they will be generating more efficient aerodynamic sealing. What does that mean in Australia? Less load loss when the car hits curbs, less instability in quick changes of direction, and greater consistency over long stints. On a circuit where the asphalt can improve or worsen with changes in temperature, that stability can make a huge strategic difference. Third, the rotating rear wing system. This is the most controversial and most interesting element. In Bahrain, they already showed top speeds of up to 348 km per hour, being top 3 on the straight. That means that when the wing opens, the efficiency is real. But the real challenge is the transition. If the mechanism allows for unloading resistance on the straight without compromising stability when braking, then Hamilton will have exactly what he described: a calm car entering the corner. And here is the critical point. Hamilton doesn't need a single-lap fast car. You need one that allows you to attack in qualifying without destroying the rear axle in the race. In the Bahrain tests, it was detected that rear tire management was one of the weak points. If Australia shows that that weakness has been mitigated, Ferrari will have resolved the biggest question. But if on Sunday, with 40 degrees on the asphalt, the SF26 starts to slide in the second stint, the whole narrative will collapse. Because in Albert Park, races are not won only at the start. They are gained by managing temperature, maintaining traction, and avoiding microslips that cook the rear compound. If the new diffuser provides a stable load, the car will protect the tire better. If not, the rotary wing and top speed will serve to qualify at the front, but not to defend position on laps 35 to 50. There is another factor that we cannot ignore: energy management. Leclerc has pointed out that the car is stable and predictable for the first time, with energy management that they consider their true weapon. In Australia, where DRS and short straights require precision in electrical deployment, this can be decisive when defending or attacking. Ferrari arrives in Australia with a technical concept that many consider difficult to copy, especially due to the rotary wing system and groundwork. That means that if it works, it won't just be a one-time improvement. It will be a structural advantage. And when, within a historical structure like Maranello, people begin to talk about structural advantage, expectations skyrocket. This is where the psychological factor comes in. Hamilton is not here to rebuild slowly. It has arrived with the mentality of accelerating processes. In Bahrain, we saw a solid base, but also a car that was not yet fully tuned in rear management. That involved work, adjustments, and progressive evolution. But by publicly declaring that the jump to Australia is significant, he is sending a clear message to engineering. There is now no room to stay halfway. And this directly affects the dynamic with Charles Leclerc. Because if the car really feels more stable and predictable, as has also been mentioned from the Monegasque side, then Ferrari has for the first time in years a base where both drivers can exploit the performance without constantly fighting against the balance. But the difference is that Hamilton turns that stability into a winning narrative. It doesn't talk about progress. Talk about title potential. And at Ferrari, when someone talks about the title, the historical weight is activated. Act 3 is not just about technique. It's about invisible hierarchies. If the SF26 confirms those estimated 3 or 4 tenths in Australia thanks to the specific package, Hamilton will not only have validated the concept, he will have gained authority within the team from the first race. That changes technical conversations, development priorities, and even strategic decisions at critical moments. The SF26 arrives in Melbourne with a new larger volume diffuser, a revised floor with advanced work on the flow, and a rotary wing system that has already shown real efficiency on a straight line during tests, reaching competitive top speed figures. The concept is there. The foundation is solid. The potential return exists. And when a driver of his caliber feels that he has a calm car with a real leap in performance, he doesn't say it by chance. Australia will not define the championship, but it will define the initial narrative. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.